Okay, so we've got to put that 143.34 as a credit to the vendors because the vendors have overpaid the taxes. So they're going to get a credit on this adjustment of the purchase price, which means they're getting the benefit of it because they've overpaid the taxes and we're adjusting for it. So it goes under that column. At the end, we're going to add up the credits to the vendors, subtract the credit to the purchasers. That'll give us our balance due on closing. But we still got a couple of things to do. We've got to do the fuel oil. Fuel oil in our scenario, the vendors go down and look at their fuel oil tank. It's a big tank in the basement that gets filled up a couple times a year. It's got hundreds of dollars of fuel oil in there. The purchasers shouldn't be getting that for free, so we have to adjust for that. And the way we do that is the tank is filled up just before closing because we know what it holds, but if it's partially empty, it's impossible to know how much is in there probably. And we fill that up. And we've also got to do the HST, and we find out what the price of the fuel oil is at the time of the closing, which it shouldn't change that often per year, but the price does fluctuate. So 550 liters, we've been told it's 65 cents a liter. That's $357.50. And now we've got to work out the 13% HST. Okay, so we've entered in here the fuel oil, 550 liters by 65 equals 357.50. Multiplied by 0.13 to give us 13%, and that gives you 46.47. You add that, and that gives you a total of $403.98. We credit the vendors the 403, and I put it in the right-hand column here. Why is it there? Because the vendors are delivering a full fuel oil tank, and we're figuring out the amount, and we're adjusting for it. What we're going to do now is we're going to adjust for the rent and the rent deposit. So our fact scenario tells us that rent is $970 a month, and there is indeed a security deposit for that last month's rent, $970, and so we're going to have to adjust for that. So that's going to be a credit to the purchasers because rather than having the vendor hand over the security deposit, we just deduct that from the purchase price. But we've got to work out the per diem and figure out how much rent is the vendor entitled to, and we go up until the day before closing again, which is 20 days. We've got December has 31 days, so we take the 31, we take the rent, 970, we divide by 31, and that gives us our per diem, and we multiply by the 20 days. Okay, so what we've come up with is a balance due on closing by adding up the credits on the right hand side. Sale price $488,900 plus $143.34 plus the credit for the fuel oil tank $403.98, which included the HST, and we subtract the deposit because we've already paid it. And for the rent has been overpaid, plus there's a security deposit, and we subtract 13,1419. So you're taking that $489,447 and subtracting $31,314.19. Our balance due on closing, and this is the magic number. This is what we have to tell our clients. They have to come up for closing with the mortgage proceeds. And they're probably going to have to bring in some money to close, but they've got to bring in we've got to have $458,133.13 to purchase this property. If you have any questions about these calculations, you can contact me. You can also go through the textbook examples. If you have a condominium at work, it would work much similarly to the rent because the condo fees are paid up front. And you've got to work out the per diem. Does your month have 28 days, 29 days? Most months have 30 or 31 days. You work out the per diem. And the vendor, if they've paid, if you're closing, say, April 15th, and they paid their condo fees for April, it makes no sense that the vendor would be paying the condo fees for the purchaser. And so you're working that out and adjusting as of the day before closing. to figure out exactly how those condo fees, and that's going to be a credit to the vendor probably, because they probably will have paid them in advance, and you'll be adjusting the purchase price for that when you've got a condo. So it's a similar type of situation.